In Sculptris, you can create an entire creature from just a little sphere because it adds polys as you're sculpting. Blender, however, does not. So you're going to have to model out a very basic shape first before you start sculpting. It doesn't have to be super detailed, it can just be a couple of squares, basically. And that's what I'm doing here. Now that you have the basic model shape, you want to go to Modifiers, Subdivision, Subsurface, and take it up to about 200,000 to 300,000 polys. You can add more if you need it later. Once you do this, you start sculpting. And sculpting is really quite intuitive. It's just a couple of different brushes, like you can grab, you can inflate, deflate, you can flatten. I myself prefer to use mostly the clay sculpting brush, and sometimes the grab and the smooth. And on occasion I'll use the inflate, deflate, and the flatten thing. Once you're confident that you're done sculpting your model, you should go into modifiers and hit the decimate modifier and try to take it down to below 50,000 verts or so if you want. You can keep it a high poly if you'd like, but it's a lot easier on your computer and a lot easier to do other things with it if it's below 50,000 polys. And just like with the subdivision subsurface modifier, it's best if you apply the decimate modifier and then symmetrize it. As for texturing, I'm using an add-on called Bee Painter. It's not free, but it's not super expensive. And what you usually do is you want to go and you want to have a fairly large blank image, usually a completely white surface or some other color, but it needs to be a fairly large so it's high resolution so that you can actually get detailed textures in there. And then you do a smart UV unwrap. It's not perfect, there's still quite a bit of problems with that, but it's usually the easiest one to work with for the most part. And then you just start painting. It's kind of like painting in Sculptris or some other program. You just click the brush and you can add certain different textures, make the textures different colors, different sizes, different opacities, and so forth. And yeah, it's pretty intuitive. I will often just use the texture itself as a bump map. Maybe I'll edit it with GIMP, maybe I won't, I don't know. In this case, I took all the white out and replaced it with a color that was similar to what the rest of the texture was, so that it didn't stand out so much in between the textures in some areas.